Welcome to Coffee with Kehoe 2025. We have changed the format this year from our traditional Coffee with Kehoe. I am joined by my co-host and chief of staff for WATEC, Amy Pearson. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you. Great to be here.
And we are going to have more of a podcast, free-flow discussion this year of Coffee with Kehoe. So let's get this started. So for the first 2025 Coffee with Kehoe, we are going to be talking about, Amy.
We are going to be talking about the NASCIO State CIO Top 10 Priorities for 2025.
And last year in Coffee with Kehoe, we did how many segments? 3 or 4 segments
At least.
On the NASCIO Top 10.
Yeah.
Yes. So now NASCIO has come out with a new Top 10. And we're going to go through this top 10, not in the detail we may have done last year, but I think it's important. Every year, NASCIO, which is the National Association of CIOs, puts out a top 10 list based on a survey of all 50 CIOs around the country and their priorities, and comes out with a top 10 list. And we're going to talk about that top 10 list and what's changed and how WATEC and our initiatives are aligned or not on these top 10. And we might even have a disagreement.
I think we might.
On the top 10.
I think we might.
Or maybe we think one should be higher than the other. I think that would be great
or
to talk
labeled
about.
A little differently. Or
oh, yeah, like legacy modernization. You know, that's kind of a old school term.
Old school.
We'll let them get away with that a little bit. So that's the format today. All right, before we get into the NASCIO Top 10, I just wanted to show you my NASCIO coffee cup here. I'm very proud of this. This was provided to the Coffee with Kehoe set by Doug Robinson, the president of NASCIO, who really enjoys, I think he's a avid viewer of Coffee with Kehoe.
I think he's got it noted.
Yeah, and I'm sure and it's an expectation of all the NASCIO staff to watch every episode. But I appreciate, thank you, Doug Robinson, for the coffee cup. And here we go. We're going to be talking about the NASCIO Top 10. So let's start. Drum roll. What is the top priority of CIOs around the country according to the NASCIO Top 10 for 2025?
So based on the survey of the 50 state CIOs, it is running cybersecurity and risk management. So Bill, what is that? What is cybersecurity and risk management? What does that mean?
So that's been number one for like a decade.
At least.
Yeah.
At least. It tells you how important it is.
Yeah, that just tells you that everybody around the country is concerned about cybersecurity and the impact that an incident or a breach can have, detrimental impact on public trust and the operations and the strategies that are in place in our state. So, it's hard to disagree with that. I think what we're doing in the state of Washington is looking to continue to build on our monitoring and alerting and try to catch things before they become an incident. And we have an Office of Cybersecurity and our enterprise services that are very aligned to that. So it's hard to disagree with that one. We'll go with that.
Agreed.
All right.
Agreed.
Let's go on to the second one, which looks like it changed. We got, yes. So number 3 was number 2. Now we have a new number 2.
Moved into second place is artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robotic process automation.
So I know that this is a big topic across all the states. Artificial intelligence is a big topic in our state with our governor's executive order and our policies and guidelines and our community of practice and setting up our sandbox that we're doing. But what do you think about this? Why do you think this is number 2 over some of these other important? And would you say that we would agree that that's number 2?
I would say we agree. I mean, as you mentioned, the governor's executive order that we are executing on, I think, AI is here. The focus for us is how to leverage it. And I think you'll see as we talk through this list, a lot of the top priorities feed one another. And so cybersecurity, data management, some of those things all feed into how we leverage AI to both, streamline how staff interact in their day-to-day work, but also how our residents interact with us and how to make that a better experience utilizing AI, RPA, machine learning. It's here.
So I think we could do a coffee with Kehoe on just using AI.
Ooh, now that'd be fun.
Yeah. Can we do that?
Yeah.
I think we could pull that off.
Let's.
Yeah, we'll think about that. But I agree with you. I think it's great. We've done a lot of regulations and policies, and we're looking at risk and bias, and we should be doing that. I think we're moving now towards how can we utilize this to, and like you said, make us more efficient in how we work, and how can we engage our residents in a much better way than what we're doing today, and use artificial intelligence, machine learning. And we do have a robotic process automation service here at WATEC that's a lot of agencies are embracing, and that's a great way to quickly provide some automated data entry type into multiple systems and save a tremendous amount of hours. So there we go. All right, number 3.
Digital government and digital services. I know this is a part of our Washington IT strategic plan and an important pillar and component of everything that we do here at WATEC and how we support the enterprise and other agencies in providing those digital services to the residents of Washington.
I think this should have been number 1 or 2 again.
Really?
This was tied with number 1. Why is it 3?
Last year.
And AI is a component of digital government, digital services. So why number 3? I don't know. I think it might be that maybe artificial intelligence is getting a lot of hype. I don't know.
What do you think? What does digital services mean to you?
Well, hey, it's serving our residents better today, right? Our mission with our integrated eligibility and our Health and Human Services Coalition and our resident portal and our identity and access management system is to build one front door to state services. And right now, our residents have to go to multiple places in some cases to get the information and the services they need, and which leads to them potentially not getting those critical services. So this is critical for us, and obviously it's important to all states, but it fell from a tie from number 1 to number 3. So that's interesting.
Which is interesting given the number of states that are implementing portals.
Yeah.
To ease the access for their residents, much like Washington is embarking on as well. So still remains a priority, but not as high as it was last year.
What do we have for number 4? Because I'm excited about number 4, which is up from number 6 from last year. And
this has you written all over
they call me the
Kehoe.
data CIO, and here we go.
Data management and analytics.
Data management analytics. What do you think?
Yes. No, we need it. And again, this fits also into that digital government piece. Like, how do we leverage the data that we either collect from our residents or collect as part of the programs that we provide? And how do we use that data to better inform decision making so that we know that the policies and programs that are in place are really having the impact that we intend? And if we're not collecting that and coordinating that data in a quality way, using governance frameworks to really manage it, it's the Wild West with data, and that doesn't
data
serve
everywhere,
anybody.
and we're not using it effectively. And if you look at some of our new Governor Ferguson's priorities, everything from housing and homelessness and data. That's a data problem. Broadband, where should we focus our resources? Right. And it's a data problem. All of our modernization, it's a data problem, data conversion, data quality, right? So this is so important for all of the states and all of government to get right. and to transform our mindset around data. And I'm really happy to see it continues to rise and is number 4 this year. So I'm going to tell you, when I go to NASCIO, I'm going to be telling them, hey, the data CIO says, keep it moving up, because it's important for everybody.
I think especially in light of, it's always important, but in light of Washington's budget deficit, what you just said about how do we take limited resources and really make sure that they're getting to where they need to be. We have limited funds to do that, and so the data needs to help inform us to really focus those limited dollars.
Got to get those insights into how our services can be better serve our residents. All right, let's move to number 5, halfway through almost. What do we have?
We have legacy modernization.
Legacy modernization.
Know,
that seems
that
pretty.
That's
pretty legacy to me.
I think it's a oxymoron.
Yeah, it's pretty legacy. So, what's your thought here? Is this the right term even for what we're trying to accomplish?
I think I would use a different term. I think we use a different term here in Washington in terms of, it's really a transformation. Legacy modernization is really, we're not spending a lot of time modernizing these old mainframe legacy systems. We are getting them in a healthy position so that they're sustainable in the short term while we build out and transform these new modern cloud-based capability focused incremental builds. And we will need to rely on the back end of these legacy systems while we build out that front end and to really deliver services incrementally and faster to those that we serve. So again, we're not modernizing these legacy systems. We're maintaining them in the short term while we build out these modern systems in the cloud.
That's right. I mean, it's modernization, and legacy modernization is a component of the modernization, which is more focused on the customer experience and getting that right and integrating on the back end until, like you said, we have things built out and then we can decommission. Mm-hmm. But legacy modernization for legacy modernization's sake, in my mind, is outdated.
Right, because when you modernize, it's also an opportunity to take a look at your business processes. And again, keeping the customer or the client focused forces us to take a look at those legacy business processes and not only the technology. And we need to transform all of that to better serve residents and clients.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to 2025 State CIO top priority number 6.
Budget, cost control, and fiscal management. Why is this so important?
Wow, was that even on the list
Washington
last year?
I don't think so.
Wow,
I don't recall budget at all.
That popped up pretty fast, which tells you what?
This is probably an issue across the nation for many states, many CIOs.
Yeah. So in Washington, we're dealing with a substantial budget deficit. I've heard everything from, $4 billion, for the current biennium, but over 4 years, it's anywhere from 6 to 12. I've heard different numbers, but suffice to say, we have a substantial budget deficit, and in these tight budget times, they're looking for efficiencies and savings, and where we can be more efficient in our operations, and where we could potentially save money. So it's an opportunity in Washington, as I'm sure other states are looking at this, an opportunity to look at everything we do and the money that we have to spend and make sure we're spending it in the right way. And then where we can save funds, we're going to be looking at all our processes, for instance, at WATEC, and we're going to be looking to be much more efficient and effective in how we serve our customers, our agencies, and our residents. So, this is probably something that we should do all the time, and now it's something that it's going to be a must do. So. Yes.
I also think it's an opportunity. You said an opportunity, but to also look at, we're really good at focusing on our agency's needs and how our agencies serve the clients. But this is a real challenge and opportunity to get creative in how to collaborate with other agencies, other disciplines to solve some of these difficult solutions. Because in the end, we all serve the same residents of our state.
And our industry partners need to help us here too.
Correct.
Yes. All right. Great conversation so far. Let's go on to number 7 in the NASCIO top 10 for 2025.
We have identity and access management, which is, I know, a priority for WATEC and Washington as a state. Why is it important to you, Bill? What is...
Well, we don't really have an external identity and access management platform right now. We have Secure Access Washington, which really isn't a identity and access management platform. And so this was an initiative that we were funded for about a year ago, and we made tremendous strides and have chosen a platform. This is very much tied to our resident portal, and will be tied also to our Health and Human Services Coalition portal. And it's a way for us to seamlessly identify and securely identify our residents as they come in to get information, get services. So this is an important initiative for us, and it sounds like it's an important initiative across the country as well.
I think it's also responsive to what our residents are telling us. They want a more personalized experience with government. It goes to number 1, the cybersecurity and risk management of protecting the data and the identity of those that do interact with government. It's part of the digital services. You mentioned it's a foundation of our resident portal. And again, how to just customize or personalize that experience that residents have with their government.
And go to one place.
Yep.
Go to one place. Okay. Moving on to number 8, cloud services.
This is really just an opportunity. Again, number 5 was that legacy modernization, which is typically mainframe, old legacy applications. And we are in the era of cloud services, which is much more flexible, adaptable to the changing needs of programs and residents' needs. And I know from a WATEC perspective, we take it very seriously and are standing up a cloud program, cloud offerings and services for those agencies that we serve across the enterprise.
Instead of having services in every agency, contracts in every agency, we're developing a hybrid cloud, multiple cloud services that are centralized, brokerage service, centralized licensing, contracts, etc. And we're really using this to revamp how our customers receive services from us. We're going to be transforming that and modernizing that, and also how we're rethinking how we do approval services for architecture, for security, et cetera, and really making that experience more seamless. So there's a lot of outcomes around our cloud program, but when you look at our analytical platforms, software as a service versus on-premise, et cetera, we're moving as much as we can into the cloud. But I also think cloud services is part of this modernization effort, right? As we modernize, we're developing target architectures, and that target architecture is going to be in the cloud, in a cloud fabric, supporting the components of whatever target architecture we have, with an integration service that's going to be in the cloud. So it's more than just cloud services and infrastructure as a service. It's really part of that overall modernization strategy.
Absolutely.
And just doing things so you can move to the cloud, I think, is a little outdated now. It's got to be part of that overall strategy. So not surprising. It's maybe surprising it's that low, but cloud used to be the thing. It used to be up there at number 1 or 2. Now it's like, oh yeah, cloud, number 8.
Lonely number 8.
Yeah.
But a nice segue into number 9, which is workforce. I think the other component, or one of the components of WATEC's cloud program, is the upskilling or training of many of our agency staff that are used to managing the mainframe or those legacy systems, and what sort of training and support do we put into place to help those that want to remain working in the IT world to support that transition to the new modern cloud. And just that's an important component that I think we believe in here.
Yeah, and all the modernization components, the journey mapping, the customer experience, the user UI interface design, the user interface design, and the cloud services and the architects. And so the workforce that we have and the skill sets needs to match the needs we have in modernization.
Right.
And this is also one of our IT enterprise strategic goals, is to become the best workforce ever. And so we have initiatives around workforce, around recruitment, retention, and culture, so that we create a culture that attracts talent to the state of Washington. And then we have a culture that retains them. We have professional growth opportunities, et cetera. So this aligns really well with a lot of what we're doing, including our cloud program, where we've stood up a training platform for all agencies based on what they currently do and how to transition to maintaining services in the cloud. So really important.
I think there's a thread throughout all these priorities around the workforce, whether it's the number 2, robotic process automation that helps streamline workers' processes, but
AI.
All of these top 10 priorities consist of change, not only for those that we serve, but also those that serve them within the state agencies. And so,
and even in a budget crisis, we have to keep our training programs in place. We have to build and grow our staff so that we can be successful.
And recognize the change that's occurring for everybody.
All right, we're down to priority number 10. Here we go. The last priority, but not the least.
The least important. Accessibility.
Yes, they're all important. Accessibility. What do you think about accessibility? I don't think this was in the top 10 last year.
I don't think so either. And I know it's something that WATEC supports in terms of breaking barriers to making sure that our residents have what they need in the way they need it, when they need it, as they seek out government services. And so we need to ensure that everything we do is from that lens of being accessible to those that we serve.
Yes, we have 1 in 4, I think, of our residents that have some form of disability that makes it difficult for them to engage in our digital services. And so that's the reason to do this. There is a DOJ rule, but that's a compliance end of it.
Right.
We want to do this for the right reasons, which again goes to our digital government, digital services, which accessibility is a part of that, goes to the customer experience. We want to serve all and not design for the few, right? So that's the equity piece, the accessibility piece. So thanks. That's the NASCIO Top 10 of 2025.
Thanks all.
Thank you.